Hey there folks, adding another video to the list. I'm in Dubbo this week, August 2025, about to run a eucalyptus workshop tomorrow. I've been collecting material from 34 species for 2.5 days and I got all of them. I got all 34 from Lithgow to Dubbo and out to Narromine as well. I'm pretty cheering. I'm just having a breather. And I thought I'd make this video, after hunting down 34 eucalyptus trees. I could probably make videos on about 3/4 of them, and sadly I don't have time, but I'll cover this one anyway. This one's incredibly common on the western slopes of New South Wales. This is Eucalyptus conica, and it's one I've taken a while to get to know. It's just taken me a while to study it and learn it. I've sort of been ignoring it for a good while. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because I haven't done a lot of survey work where it's been abundant, and I didn't collect it for the Botanic Gardens either. It wasn't one of the ones I collected. But I've got familiar with it now and I actually like it. It's actually, now that I know it, it's a nice tree, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for them now. Whereas I think when I used to hear their name, I used to get a bit intimidated. You drive along the road and what you tend to notice is there's a tree on the side of the road that looks a bit like Bridgesiana. Again, using my sort of linking framework. It looks like Bridgesiana, but the foliage is wrong. The leaves are just too short and they're too sort of blue. But when you look at the bottom trunk, that's what you start to think of. You go, that's a little bit of a Bridgesiana looking tree. It's got this sort of fibrous, messy bark. It is called the fuzzy box. And you can see this sort of almost a bit like a woolly butt. It's got this sort of messy bark down the bottom. It makes some beautiful patterns, but it's a bit random in how it sort of arranges it, and some parts sort of jut out and stick out more to the horizontal, and I guess that's what makes it look a bit sort of messy at the bottom. It's really good, like the bark would be really good habitat for spiders and things like that. As you go up, it does have a little bit of that Bridgesiana pattern, but it's more of a sort of coarsely weaved sort of pattern as you go up. So that's sort of what I'm linking it to. It does look a little bit boxy in parts, but it really doesn't look like the typical boxes we sort of get, like Microcarpa and Albans and Mollucana, which have sort of the more finely tessellated bark. This one's sort of on the messy scale. When I look up the tree, the bark goes to, sort of 90% of the way up, and then you got smooth branches maybe for the last 20% or 10%. So the messy bark doesn't go all the way to the top, but it goes a fair bit up. And then you got these sort of shorter leaves, much shorter than Bridgesiana, and they've got a good dash of blue in them. Oh, I think as you drive past them, they've got a good dash of blue. They look very Melliodora to me, very yellow box. I still haven't made a video on that one, but they're looking very Melliodora. I think I can even see the intramarginal vein that Melliodora has running along just the outside of the leaf there. Just that vein you can see running around just inside the margin. That's what I go for with Melliodora. They're bluey green. They're not overly long. I didn't look up the dimensions, but I think the longest leaves I can see on this tree are about 10 centimetres, maybe. I'd say they're not longer than that. I'd say that the leaves are about 10 centimetres, maybe getting to about 2 to 3 centimetres wide. So I guess this is where I'd start with this one. If you learn Bridgesiana and you learn Melliodora, this has a bit of a trunk like Bridgesiana, but it's got a foliage like Melliodora. That leaf there, that is a very Melliodora looking leaf. Incredibly so. Maybe a bit more green than blue in some ways, but still a very Melliodora leaf. I'll try and, I need to get those. I've got some fruits in my hands, but I need to get those ones down. They're a little bit bigger. When I feel the new leaves of conica, they got this beautiful feel. I'm trying to sort of describe it. They're very silky. It's a very silky feel when you get the new leaves. The older leaves tend to have, I think, a bit of insect damage and they're a bit rougher. But I was just feeling them yesterday when I collected some material, and they've just got this really, just got to get the right leaf, but they got this really silky smooth feel. It's sort of like it's got a shine on it or something like that. It gets a bit addictive. Maybe there's other eucalypts that have it as well, but I was just noticing some yesterday. They got just this nice sheen on them. I was in a locality yesterday called Walla, which is east of Mudgee. And you can take a road to Ulan, or you can take the road back to Mudgee when you get to Walla. And if you're near that intersection there is a ton of them. There's a ton of them on the sides of the road, and you get out and have a look. They're in people's sort of front road reserves out the front of their houses in Walla. And that's probably one of the best places to see them. They're all around Dubbo here as well. And this is a place called Yumunjeri. Yumunjeri, just north of Dubbo. They're a good place to see them too. But if you ever go to Walla, east of Mudgee, there's just some really beautiful ones, which are pretty much acting as street trees in that Walla area. I've got the buds here. At the moment, this thing is both in flower and in bud. There's a lot of flowers, and I've just got the buds here. The umbellastas are in 7s, but it does put them into the compound groups like Mollucana and like Microcarpa. So it just puts the buds into more additional sort of branching compound groups, but each individual umbellasta is meant to have 7 buds. That one's got 4, that one's got 5. So normally in the boxes you get 7 buds. Some of them throw more than 7. But conica is described as having 7. And I'm probably not going to get an umbellasta here that'll do it justice. But again, like I showed in my Mollucana video, they're in these compound sort of branching groups where you don't have leaves in between each individual umbellasta. So it's handy to have a look at those when you get your hands on them. All the trees I've collected from for conica, they got a load of bud on them at the moment. So it's August 2025, and maybe this is a good time of year for them to be in bud. I'm just not overly sure at the moment because I just haven't got hands-on with them enough. Conica, it's just one I've taken a while to get to know. I should have given it more attention much earlier on. The stems are nice and red. Buds have got red tinges as well. And the stems have got a nice red colouring. That's a very Melliodora feature as well, these sort of red stems. Quite noticeable on conica. There's also been a lot of conica flowers. Just trying to get that into... Yeah, they're very dainty. They're not very big. They're about 5 mil across probably. From stamen to stamen or anther to anther, they'd probably be about 10 mil. 10 mil across, but they're nice dainty flowers. They're not very big. But where I've seen them just the last day or two, there's been a lot of flowering, especially like trees on the edge of paddocks that are overhanging roads. So there's plenty of flowering going on. So maybe late winter, spring might be the flowering time, or one of the flowering times. They're quite dainty flowers, not very big at all. So pretty cute. Then we got the fruits. And as you might have guessed, conica is called conica because of these cone-shaped fruits or conical fruits. They're not very big. They're about 6 mil long by about 5 mil wide. And it's probably the fruit and combined with the bark that are going to give you a really solid ID. I think the foliage is sort of a bit distinctive as well, though, like I said, it does look like Melliodora. But you just got these beautiful conical shaped fruits. So less of a sort of champagne glass shape, I say, rounded for Mollucana, Microcarpa albans. It's a bit more of a triangular cone shape there. Still a nice glass, though. One of those fancy sherry or aperitif glasses you have after your ritzy meal back in the day. Yeah, so the disc, I think, is sort of depressed or descending, I should say, and the valves are inserted. I'm pretty sure the valves are enclosed. I keep saying inserted, enclosed. They're not going to stick out the top of the fruit. So it's got that typical box feature with enclosed valves. But that's the fruits of conica. Not overly big. Most of them I'm getting are really on the small side. I think they're probably still developing, like these ones here. And there's just some up here on a branch, which are probably getting more their actual size. Just see if I can pull those down. Just, yeah, those ones there, I'd say are getting more to the 5mm wide and getting to their actual size, and they look like they're ready to release their seed, or might be releasing their seed already. But quite distinctive conica, just on that shape. Probably really hard to misidentify with any other tree out here. So you put that together, this sort of bluey green foliage. It is concolorous, like all the other boxes. It's a definite concolorous leaf. Just like the boxes all around it. It's sort of right in the middle of that bluey green spectrum, I would think. Texture, they're not overly thick, but they're not overly thin either. They're sort of in the middle there. It's not an overly thin leaf. So sort of a medium texture, I would say, somewhere there in the middle of the spectrum. If someone handed me that, I would totally think that's Meliodora yellow box. Yeah, it's really got that appearance, conica. Quite interesting. I don't know if it's closely related to yellow box. I assume it probably is in the phylogenetic sense. I'm smelling the leaves. They're quite nice. It's a really strong eucalyptus smell. It's maybe with a dash of peppermint in there. Yeah, they're quite refreshing, quite nice to smell. So next time you see conica, have a smell of the leaves. They're quite refreshing, actually. Yeah. The range of conica, to finish off, they're on the western slopes of New South Wales. I think about as south as sort of the Grenfell area or Barmedman or thereabouts. So don't quite get to Griffith. So, and I think I've also seen records around Young. So that's about the southern range. And then they sort of punch up there north and northeast to Dubbo. They're a bit further west of Dubbo as well. Once they get past Dubbo, they go up into Queensland and they sort of go up to about I think around the Toowoomba area. And then there's a disjunction. There's a disjunct patch, which is sort of south of Springshaw. So that's their range. The disjunct patch south of Springshaw is interesting. It looks like it's well and truly detached from the rest of the population. So might be a subspecies out there. On Euclid, it might be treated as a different occurrence, but it's got a nice big range anyway. The furthest east they go, I think, is around Muswellbrook. I think you start getting them around Muswellbrook in the Hunter Valley. I think that's around about the eastern extent of them. Yeah, so they're well and surely a Western Slopes tree. They're not really on the tablelands. It's the Western Slopes where you really need to see them. So that's conica, the beautiful fuzzy box, to about 20 metres tall. Not a lot bigger than that. And just look out for this beautiful sort of chunky bark that it throws. Yeah, quite nice.